In today's climate, nothing will make you a more accurate or confident shooter than Crimson Trace laser sighting systems. Get the immediate, decisive advantage of the world's only grip-integrated laser sights today. Shoot better. Stay safer. Crimson Trace.
This is Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, broadcasting nationwide. Have a question? Want to make a comment? Call Tom now at 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. That's 866-825-5486. Or you can send us an email, tom@guntalk.com. Now, here's Tom Gresham.
All right, back with you. Now, I promised that we would have somebody here who could help you with your mental game, if you will, and also training. We'll get to that in just a second, but first off, let's see here. Dr. Joe has been on hold for a little while on line 2 out of Shreveport. I wanted to get him in here. Hey, Joe, how are you?
Hey, Tom. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you, sir.
I just want to take, on this Father's Day, I got to thinking about the inane nature of that little mantra of the gun control crowd, the guns kill people. And I thought, a guy based on that slogan, a guy like you should have been dead a long time ago, because you're a guy who's been so immersed in the gun culture that it's such an inane statement to say guns kill people. People kill people. And what makes the difference is the kind of people we are. And I think our fathers had so much to do with that. And I know in your case, you had an excellent father. And I just want to give tribute to those people, and that, our gun violence is based on the type of people that we become. Well,
they're certainly true. And at the same time, one of the things, and look, I appreciate the call, one of the things need to make sure of is we don't buy into the discussion where they'll say, gun violence, this and that, and what you need to do is say, stop them and say, okay, well, wait a minute now. Your concerns with gun violence, right. With the epidemic of gun violence, right. Would you be in favor of reducing gun violence? Well, yeah, of course. How about if we could cut it by 5%? Well, that'd be good. How about 10%? That'd be great. How about 20%? Yeah. How about 40%? Well, yeah, that's impossible. Oh, and actually not. Over the last 20 years in the United States, according to the FBI's Uniform Crime Reports, gun crimes are down more than 40% in the last 20 years. Millions more gun owners, millions more guns, millions of people carrying guns for self-defense, and violence with guns is down 40%. You'd never know that by listening to the media. Now, I mentioned the idea that, look, as we look at this church shooting in South Carolina, it's a chance for a lot of us to rededicate ourselves, or if you've never done it, to dedicate yourself to the prospect of taking care of yourself, of your family, of your loved ones, of making the commitment. And I want to talk for at least a few minutes with a friend of mine who is a top-rated instructor, firearms instructor. Chris Cerino joins us now from Cerino Training, but also he is a field host for GUNTALK Television. We do a lot of things with him. Hey, Chris, how are you?
Hi, Tom. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. Did I catch you in the middle of a class?
Yeah, we're actually in the middle of our second week of training Ohio's teachers and administrators, and we're in day 1 of our second session, and it's going well. We're fighting the weather, but it's going well.
Now, these are teachers and administrators they're not required to do this, right? They volunteer to do it.
No, these are all volunteers. Some of the schools are thinking about having armed personnel. Some of them do have armed personnel, and some of them are just here on their own because they want to know what the training is, because they want to try to drive the program for their districts.
Okay, so how many did you have in your last session and in this class?
Well, we have 24 in each session. We have about 2,000 teachers on the waiting list and administrators. We have everything from principals to superintendents, and we actually had our first college campus professors last week, which was really cool. So it's really diverse.
That's really something. Well, if you would, and I know that it's a big subject because we talk about mindset and all of that, and everybody's listening to the news coverage about the South Carolina church shooting, and my position on that is apart from the political part, put that aside, just what can you do on an individual basis, and maybe look at this and say, okay, I'm going to make the commitment to always be able to take care of myself and my loved ones. Could you just talk a little bit about the commitment and the mindset and kind of how that comes about and what you need to do to get there?
Well, it's funny that you talk about that today, because today was our mindset day. We do a half day of mindset before we come out to the range. And one of the videos I show is from YouTube, and it's an old watch shop guy from L.A. called Lance Thomas. And he had the right attitude, because number one, he refused to be a victim. He wasn't going to be a victim. He wasn't going to have somebody else negotiate for his life. He wasn't going to take the chance that if he did what the bad guy said, that they were going to let him go unscathed. So he chose to be a gunfighter and someone that was always prepared. And what he did was he had the right mindset, he had the right training. A guy like that, he had a bunch of different guns. They were set out in different locations. And I know it sounds paranoid, but the reality is he was involved in 4 fatal shootings, and he was shot several times himself. But it's not really paranoia if they are out to get you. And the reality is today, they may be out to get you. You just don't know where you're going to be. So you have to be prepared by running in your mind, training scenarios that aren't just if this happens, then I'm going to do that. But it has to be when this happens, then I'm going to do that. You've got to have good equipment. You've got to have spare ammo. You've got to have a knife. And you have to have the will to survive. You have to have the will to kill, because you may be killed. And it sounds like paranoia, but it's not.
Yeah, Chris, I said earlier in the show, it's interesting you say that. I said, what you need to do is every morning when you get up, you need to understand that there's somebody out there absolutely willing to kill you and somebody who absolutely wants to kill you. This may not be the day, but it very well may be the day. But there is somebody, I guarantee you, out there who will kill you in a heartbeat. And if you don't acknowledge that and understand the reality of that, then there's no way for you to get where you need to go mentally, is there?
No, you're just going to be caught by surprise. You're going to be a deer in the headlights. You have to accept that it could happen. It's going to happen. And when it happens, you have to know how you're going to react. You have to know that you're prepared for it, that you've trained hard. And that's what we're doing with these teachers here is they really don't know what they're getting themselves into until after we're done with this 28-hour training session. Some of them just think, wow, I had no idea how much there was to learn about protecting yourself and others.
For someone who has not done any kind of self-defense training, and they're thinking, okay, maybe I can't get to a good trainer, and I tell them, look, if you can't get to a trainer right away, at least get some of the good videos, the DVDs that are out there. There's at least start the process to get your mind going in the right direction. Does that make sense?
Correct. Well, of course, the body's not going to go where the mind hasn't been, and you have to visualize these things. You have to read about them. There's some great books out there, Tom. The Gift of Fear is a great one by Gavin DeBecker. There's another one called Left a Bang, and I can't remember who wrote it, but we have a recommended reading list, and I have it on my website, on the Chris Cerino Training Group. My wife, every time we find out about something that we should read, we read it, we put it on there so people know. And those are books that will tell you, they'll put you mentally in situations that you can't even believe happened, but they really happen to other people. Times where people have just disregarded their guttural fear or their prejudicial attitude towards somebody because, hey, I didn't want them to feel uncomfortable, so I got in the car. I didn't want them to feel uncomfortable, so I got in the elevator. And you know what? Bad things happen when we deny our instincts. Bad things happen.
There it is. And the website is chriscerinotraininggroup.com, and it's CERINO. And I'm looking at your reading this. It's funny you mentioned The Gift of Fear. We actually had a caller earlier in the show today recommending that. It's one of those that everybody needs to read because you understand that you need to listen to that little bell that's going off in the back of your head.
Well, exactly. And people think, oh, well, I don't want to be seem a racist or a prejudiced. Well, guess what? You know what? If you're not prejudicial, if you don't prejudge situations before you get into them, or you get too close to people or go down the dark alley, I guess that you got whatever you got coming to you. I mean, it's a shame, but it's the way of the future right now, unfortunately.
It's called sizing up the situation. It's okay. Look at it. You go, this doesn't feel right. I'll take the next elevator. I don't like what's going on. I'm not going to get in the car with this person. Listen to that little feeling. And I should explain to people that, Chris, you got a extensive background in local, state, and federal law enforcement.
That's correct, in tactical operations, and I've been a student of it for a long time, and I look at use of force, and I look at mindset and all that goes on with it, and it's hard because I'm not one of those people that, and you know me, Tom. I'm not gung ho like, oh, it's going to happen every minute, but right. I don't want to be caught off guard, and I think I temper it pretty well.
No, exactly right. And besides that, you're a really, really good instructor. And we enjoyed every time we get a chance to be with Chris. You're going to see a lot of Chris on the upcoming Gun Talk television show and also Guns and Gear. Those start in about 2-3 weeks now, partner.
That's right. Michelle's going to be on the first one. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, that's right. He's become a really good shooter, too. Hey, look, go back, take care of those teachers, and get your class going. Thank you for taking a little time out for us, okay?
All right, you bet. Always, Tom. Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, you take care. Chris Cerino, the Chris Cerino TrainingGroup.com. Really a good website. God, what a trainer. And the guy knows his stuff. All right, we'll be right back.
The XDM 3.8 Compact from Springfield Armory is 2 guns in 1. Use as your concealed carry gun with a compact magazine and use the extended magazine for home defense. Carry 13 rounds of 9mm in the compact magazine and a whopping 19 rounds in the extended magazine. To see the entire family of Springfield Armory XDM pistols, go to SpringfieldArmory.com. That's SpringfieldArmory.com.
When it's all on the line, you can count on Trijicon Optics. Earning its reputation in combat and on hunts in all corners of the world, Trijicon comes through. The new AccuPower rifle scopes feature battery-powered illuminated reticles, variable power, adjustable brightness, plus they're waterproof. The years of waiting, the dollars spent, your hunt of a lifetime comes down to a single moment. Get Trijicon quality. Trijicon.com. Trijicon.com.
Alien Gear Holsters, the most comfortable and concealable holsters on the planet, is offering big savings with our new 2-holster combo. Now you can buy 2 complete holsters for as little as $49.88. Choose from any available holster styles and colors for the guns of your choice. All of Alien Gear's quality products are made right here in the USA and include a 30-day trial, forever warranty, and free shell trades for life. Visit aliengearholsters.com today.
For 36 years, the U.S. Sportsmen's Alliance has been fighting to protect hunting, fishing, and trapping for sportsmen from coast to coast. Today, we are under constant attack from extremist animal rights groups who want to end your ability to hunt in the U.S. Join us to protect our sporting heritage and our way of life outdoors. To join or for more information on how you can help, go to ussportsman.org. That's ussportsman.org.
Funny stuff. Just got an email from Ron. He's in Arizona. He says it's 115 degrees. He's gone to a smart carry holster. That's the kind of a fabric pouch. It's elastic band around your waist. Pouch goes in your crotch underneath your clothing. He says doesn't print. It's not real hot and sweaty. He likes it. He says he met a guy who's got a truck just like his. He says, how many times has your truck been stolen? He says, well, no, none. This guy says, my truck's been stolen 3 times. I guess he said down there in the Home Depot, they'll snatch a truck up and then drive it across the border. Says he stopped, this guy he talked to had stopped 2 of them because he was a concealed carry guy. Amazing. He also says, darn you, why'd you have those guys from Slip 2000 on? He says, now I've cleaned 2 of my pistols and a revolver. The carbon killer is great stuff. Yeah, it is. That's all that Slip 2000 stuff. And I've seen a lot of snake oil come and go. Man, this stuff is good for gun cleaning. It really, really seriously works. Love it. All right, let's see here. Line 2, Dan's with us out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Dan, you're on Gun Talk.
Well, I got a range report on the Alien Gear holsters.
Okay. How long you had it?
Well, I just got it in. Technically got it in Saturday, so I haven't really got to use it a lot. But I was just going to tell you, you want the long version or the short version?
Give me the short version.
Okay. I ordered one. I got the Kimber Ultra Carry 2, Pro Carry 2 with Crimson Trace. And it didn't have an option on the website when I ordered if it had Crimson Trace or not. And all of them I've ever seen all had the Crimson Trace in that model. So at that point, I guess I assumed they all had Crimson Trace on that model. Well, they don't. So they sent one. I bought the 2-pack, and they sent them, and it didn't fit because I have the Crimson Trace. They sent it without. Anyway, the bottom line is I haven't got to use it that much. It does fit in there really good. But, you know, with that not fitting right, the one thing I want to say about them is they made me feel like I was the best customer they ever had. And that's the first time I ordered from them. They were just really, really pleasant to work with.
Isn't that great when you get, you know, it's okay that you have a problem, you know, you didn't order the right thing or they did, you know, whatever. But if you contact them, they go, hey, look, it's okay. Don't worry about it. We're going to take care of it. That's such a good feeling.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Well, good deal. Well, Dale, look, I appreciate the report. Do me a favor. After you get everything in and you've worn it for 2 or 3 weeks, then let us know how it works for you, because I think I got an idea, but I'd rather have you call us. And so let us know as soon as you've got some time engraved with that one. I appreciate that call. Line 1, Greg, Medford, Oregon. Hey, Greg, what you looking for?
Thanks for taking the call. I have an injured left arm that has left my arm a little bit weak, and my grip is weak. And I want to buy a small frame, 9mm semi-automatic for concealed carry. And I tried a Ruger, but the slide pulled back so hard that I couldn't do it. And that wasn't a 9mm, however, that was a 357. And so my question is, do you know of a semi-automatic 9mm small frame that may have a weaker slide pullback?
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do. I'm going to be able to help you. But here's the thing you got to understand. The strength of the slide is all about the spring they put in, and the spring is matched to the cartridge. So the one you tried was a 357 SIG cartridge, very powerful cartridge, so it has to have a very strong spring. That's why it's so hard to move. A 9mm is going to be easier, but it's still going to be a little stiff. I'm going to try to take you in a different direction here and just kind of trust me on this, if you would, for a little while. I'm going to suggest you look at a 380 pistol, 380 caliber instead of 9mm. In the ballistic testing we've done in ballistic gel, we're getting penetration to within 1 inch or 1.5 inches of the same as you get with a 9mm. And because the 380 has less power, the slide is so much easier to work. Ruger has, for instance, a pistol they call the LC 380. It is delightful, and it is so easy to work that slide. SIG has the same thing in 380s. And the slide, you can literally, the SIG P238, you can put a finger on the rear sight of this gun and just flip your finger and work the slide on that gun, on that SIG P238. It's so easy to work, it's amazing. And it would not bother me in the slightest to carry a 380 for self-protection with the good ammo we have now.
And you're saying that a Ruger LC 380 would be basically almost as easy?
Yes, I would look at the LC 380. I would look at the SIG P238. It's the 238, P238. Or just go to a store and say, look, what have you got in 380? Now, understand, if you go down to the little bitty 380s, and there's some teeny tiny ones, the spring has to be stronger again because you've got to contain all that power. Instead of in a 4-inch barrel or a spring of a certain length, you have to have the same power in a shorter spring, so those are harder to work. So don't go get one of these little baby 380s. Get a mid-sized 380 like the P238 from SIG or this Ruger LC 380. But try different ones, but look at 380s. Don't get hooked, where you're married to the 9mm. I really think the 380 is going to be the answer to what you're looking for here.
Yeah, it sure sounds like it. I appreciate that. I hadn't thought about that. And I will. I'll go down and look at both of those.
All right. Now, here's the other thing is you may get a good salesperson who actually knows what's going on, but you may get somebody who says, oh, God, I would never carry a 380. You don't want a 380. Ignore that person. The key is to get good ammo for your 380. Now, of course, a revolver's an option. If you're okay with a revolver, then you don't have to work the slide at all. So if you can run a revolver.
I've got 2 revolvers, and actually I got 4 of them, but 2 that fit my bill. But I'm looking for a semi-automatic.
Okay. I'm good with that. Then I think the 380 is where you ought to be looking. They're so easy to run. You'll have no problem working that slide at all. I really don't think. Honestly, I was stunned with that P238. Literally, you can just put a finger on the rear slide, just flip it, and the slide will just fly back. It's pretty cool. So that's the solution. The key is to get the good ammo. There's good expanding bullets in 380 ammo these days, and that's going to be the key to having a good self-defense load in your 380. I wish you luck with it, and I'd really appreciate your call. Looking at my time here. Yeah, I don't have time to get you in. Richard, don't go anywhere. I'm going to get to you, okay? And also looking for your stories. I've got a story I want to tell you as soon as we come back. I'm not going to have quite enough time. It involves a movie celebrity. It's a Father's Day story. It's a story about a father and 2 daughters. And he had a nice collection of guns. Movie star. His daughters liked his guns. So much so that they really liked his guns. And he was trying to figure out who gets the guns? Who gets the one they really like? His solution was ingenious. And we'll tell you that story when we come back. It's one of those that I really like. Also, of course, if you'd like to share a story about your father on this Father's Day, you're certainly welcome to do that. I may even share one about grits here. As you can imagine, we grew up with pretty much everything in the house. If they made it, if it shot, we probably had it. That was a pretty cool way to grow up, I do have to admit.
Covering all aspects of gun ownership every week on this fine radio station. You're listening to Gun Talk with Tom Gresham.
And we're back with you, Tom Gresham here, 866-TALK-GUN. We hear a lot from the gun ban industry. Typically like the Violence Policy Center, the Huffington Post, Bloomberg's group. And the latest thing is everybody's promoting this Violence Policy Center study, which disproves that guns are used for self-defense. Violence Policy Center said, well, not many people are killed by good guys. Well, you don't have to kill somebody to stop them. That's the whole point. But of course, the media picks it up and says, well, see there, the NRA has been lying all these years. People don't actually use guns in self-defense at all. Really? Let me just take a few days in a row. I'm just going to read you a few of these. November 30, a Washington state mother shot an alleged home invader to save her children. December 8, a veteran confined to a walker used a gun to stop a home invasion. December 9, Antioch, California homeowner opened fire on 2 home invaders. December 19, a 14-year-old shot and killed an intruder to save his grandparents. December 20th, a man used a handgun in self-defense when confronted by an armed robber outside an Ohio mall. He killed the would-be robber, ending the attack. December 26th, a Good Samaritan witnessed a domestic attack, pulled a pistol, and held the man at gunpoint until police arrived. December 27th, a home invader put a gun to a woman's neck in Memphis. The invader was shot and killed by the homeowner. December 28th, a Bucks County, Pennsylvania resident shot an intruder who broke through the glass door of her apartment. It goes on. December 29, a home invader was shot and killed after a pregnant woman helped fight him off. December 30th, a pastor shot a man who attacked him inside his church. December the 30th, A Texas fireworks stand owner used a gun to shoot and stop armed robbers. It goes on and on and on and on. Every single day. Every single day. People use guns to stop crime, to protect themselves. Not once, not twice, hundreds of times, thousands of times a day. But I never read of that. I know, isn't that curious? It's actually out there. If you go to the website keepandbeararms.com, they do a daily report of that, of some of them. But in many cases, there's no report of it. Nothing in the news. I know many people who have stopped crime with a gun, and because they didn't pull the trigger, they didn't phone it in. Now we know that it's a good idea to do that. No matter what happens, call it in, because the bad guys will probably call it in and say, hey, there was a crazy guy with a gun. He's attacked us. Well, you want to be the first call. Anyway, line 2, George is with us, Clarkston, Washington. Hello, George.
Hello, Tom. You're the perfect person for Gun Talk. I really enjoy you.
Thank you.
My wife has a 38 Special Taurus without a laser sight on, and she's interested in that combination laser tactile light sight that you talked about last week, but we don't know how to find one.
Let's see. Now, that was probably, we may have been talking about the Railmaster Pro, which is a light laser combo, and it goes on typically on semi-autos. I don't know if they have a way to attach that to a revolver. Now, you can certainly get lasers for the revolver, but probably it could be challenging to find a laser light combo for that.
Okay. I made several inquiries around town and didn't find one, so you must be right.
Yeah, you can get the Crimson Trace laser for that, and it'll go on there just fine. And the other thing is, you've got these little bitty tactical flashlights. I carry one with me everywhere I go. I use it all the time. I leave a trail of them all over the place. I just left one in Idaho, I think, somewhere on the ground or somewhere. So I got to buy some more. But I like those very much. You can keep them in a purse. My wife keeps one in her purse. We keep it on the nightstand. And they typically are about $40 ballpark with a single CR129 battery in those. And they work real well. So you can have the flashlight there and then have the laser on the gun. That would probably be the way I would go on that. But look, I wish you luck with it. I think it's an excellent idea of putting a laser on that gun. All right, let me tell you this story. I mentioned a movie star with a gun story. The movie star is Andy Devine. You got to be a little older to remember Andy, or you got to be a fan of old movies. He was in a lot of westerns, had that high, whiny, gravelly voice. Funny guy, good guy. He and his wife, she was just known as Dogie, Andy and Dogie. They lived in Newport Beach, California. Been to their house there. But they had 2 daughters. Now, Andy liked his Parker shotguns. Now, this is a Father's Day story. He had several Parker shotguns, including, he had in every gauge, which is pretty cool. But he had a 410 side-by-side Parker shotgun, and his 2 daughters really, really liked that gun. And each of them wanted that gun. And the story that was told to me was, what he said was, whichever one gives me a grandchild first gets the 410. So that was the deal. So one evening, Andy and Dogie are sitting in their living room in their home, and the front door opens, and one of their daughters walks in. She does not say hello. She walks through the living room, walks to the back, opens the gun cabinet, takes out the Parker 410 shotgun, closes the gun cabinet, walks back through the living room, walks out the front door, closes it behind her, and drives home. That's how she told him she was pregnant. I love that story. I guess she had to get there before her sister did. Fathers, if you know anything about me, my father was Gresham, hunted all over the world, shot literally with kings, with princesses, with movie stars, race car drivers. Did round the world tours, hunted Australia, Africa, Patagonia, England, Scotland, Germany. It was a great way to grow up. I thought everybody grew up that way. We always had a constant stream of guns and always had different things to play with. I was probably in about 6th or 7th grade, junior high school. And the principal came on the intercom just in the room where we were and says, asked my teacher, would you please send Tom Gresham to the office and have him bring his books? Well, the coming to the office was bad enough. You think, okay, what did I do? But when they say bring your books, that's not good because you're not coming back to the classroom, right? So when I got up there, I didn't know what I'd done. I'm trying to kind of go through all the things. What could it be? And et cetera, et cetera. And I get up there and the principal says, your dad just called. There's a new flight of ducks on the lake. He'll be here for you in 10 minutes. He pulled me out of school to go hunt ducks and talk about great times. And back then the principal just goes, well, yeah, there's a new flight of ducks on the lake. You got to get out there. So that's what we did. And basically that was growing up as son of grits. That's the stuff we did. Oh yeah, went to Mexico for several weeks on a trip. My brother and I are probably 12 and 13. So what do they give us for 4 weeks to play with in Mexico? Machetes. Just go play. You guys, what could happen, right? Just go play with machetes. Sure, no problem. 866-TALK-GUN.
The Ruger LC9S, a striker-fired version of the award-winning Ruger LC9 pistol, has a short, light, crisp trigger pull for faster, more accurate shooting. It's just slightly larger than the incredibly compact LCP and provides personal protection in a slim, lightweight, concealable handgun. It also fits all existing LC9 accessories, including lasers, holsters, and extended 9-round magazine. The Ruger LC9S, another rugged, reliable firearm from Ruger.
Inaccurate is just plain worthless. Doesn't matter if you're shooting for a national championship or just trying to beat your friend, you need accurate ammo. Nosler's match-grade handgun ammunition delivers. You get Nosler sporting handgun and custom competition bullets in Nosler head-stamped brass, loaded to the same strict tolerances as Nosler's match-grade rifle ammo. Handgun accuracy through match-grade ammo. Available in 9mm, 40, and 45. Visit Nosler.com.
The .45 Auto, also known as the 1911, is the standard other defensive pistols are measured against. No matter what pistol you carry, techniques developed around the 1911 are vital. You know you need training, and you know your concealed carry class definitely was not training. Now GUNTALK presents an exciting DVD, Fighting with the 1911 with Tiger McKee. Tiger's unique training style will have you drawing, moving, shooting, and running your gun better, no matter what style pistol you prefer. At ShopGuntalk.com, you can order our DVDs of Tiger's instruction. ShopGuntalk.com also has a 2-DVD set, including Concealed Carry 1. Get both for the information you know you need. This really is life and death. ShopGuntalk.com has DVDs, books, and other essential gear. ShopGuntalk.com. That's ShopGuntalk.com.
You may be a new shooter, a longtime gun owner, or even a police officer or soldier. No personal defense handgun is fully equipped without a Crimson Trace laser sight or light. Get the confidence and reliability you need to protect family, home, and country. Call 800-442-2406 or visit CrimsonTrace.com for a free copy of our new laser training video, The Laser's Edge, Crimson Trace.
Thinking about the subject of the church, South Carolina, murderous people. Quote from Clint Smith, who is eminently quotable. He has these great lines. He's, of course, the director of Thunder Ranch, great shooting training facility out in Oregon. He says, an armed man will kill an unarmed man with monotonous regularity. Obviously, you don't want to be the unarmed man or woman. Email from Anthony in Nevada. He says, I invite you to check out the book Shooting Back. Yes, I am very familiar with it. It's written by a South African missionary named Charles van Wyk. He was a member of a large South African church with more than 1,200 members. While he was sitting in church, 5 terrorists armed with assault rifles, grenades, bombs, and gasoline broke in the church and began to slaughter people, first using grenades and gunfire. Their later stated intent was to slaughter every soul in a white church. This church was 40% black, but that did not give them cause for concern. Mr. van Wyk, being in the far back of the church, was the sole church member armed. He pulled out his gun and shot twice at the terrorist. They immediately fled. The church to the front, where they proceeded to set the church on fire and try to kill everyone. Mr. van Wyk ran out the back to the front and shot 3 times at their getaway car. Immediately, the 5 terrorists fled the area. Thus, he saved more than 1,000 lives. This kind of thing happens frequently around Africa and the world, especially where governments are outlawing gun ownership. Yep. Understand, actually, I hunted in Zimbabwe with a Van Wyk, actually same last name. During the revolution there, they were attacked by terrorists in their home. He was in the back. His wife, resilient, strong woman that she was, grabbed a Sten gun, a full automatic submachine gun, and went out in the front yard and started shooting terrorists as they were trying to kill everybody in the house. You don't do that by coming up with a plan on the spot. You have to have thought it through. You have thought about it. Okay, please pay attention. I don't use the word if. I don't say if this happens then. It's not an if then. It's a when then. What's the difference? If then makes it feel like, well, it might happen. When tells you it's going to happen. And when it does, I'm not going to be surprised by it. The surprise factor slows you down on your reaction. If you just, every day, when I put on my gun, every day I say, this is the day. It's going to happen today. I'm going to need this gun today. My hope, my prayer is that it never happens. But I start the day by putting that in my head that this is the day. You had better be ready. This is the day it's going to happen. And then you react accordingly. If you haven't gone there mentally, what did Chris say? The body will not go where the mind has not already gone. The body will not go where the mind has not already gone. Fascinating. And it's the same thing I've been saying for all these years. I say, look, some of your best training, air quotes on training, you do in your easy chair at home with the TV turned off. What am I going to do if this happens? What am I going to do if this happens? What am I going to do if somebody kicks in the door right now? And 3 guys with guns kick in the door right now. Well, if you say, gee, I got to run back there to the back room and open the safe, you may want to come up with a different plan because you're not going to make it to the safe. What am I going to do if somebody tries to run me off the road or cuts me off in front and another car comes back behind me and now I can't move forward or backwards? When you are in traffic and you stop behind a car in traffic, stop far enough back so that you can see the rear tires of the car in front of you and you can see where they meet the road. If you're that far back, you can drive around them to the left or to the right. If you're up so close that you can't see them, you can't get away. You have actually trapped yourself by being so clueless as to drive too close to them. It's all about awareness. Make a plan.
Even though today's radio show is winding down, if you're on hold, stay there. Tom will pick your call up during the Gun Talk After Show. It's an on-topic, off-topic free-for-all coming up right after today's broadcast.
Yeah, and Jim's over here just about to jump out of his chair. He's bouncing in his chair because he wants to talk about he finally got his GT20 in. So during the after show, we're going to do the whole countdown, the full range report on the GT20. That's going to be a fun deal. So you definitely want to catch that one in the after show a little bit later on. We'll have it back. We'll have it uploaded in a few hours, so you can pull it down then. 866-TALK-GUN right now if you'd like to get involved with the after show. Let's see here. Eric's on line 2. Hey, Eric, you're up.
Yeah, I was just calling. Before I started carrying a gun, I used to be a fighter. I mean, I was a brawler. I'd fight all the time. And then once I started carrying, I completely stopped. I didn't fight no more because I knew while I was carrying that gun, if the police came up or whatever, they'd take my gun and put me in jail.
That's interesting. So you're not the first person, Eric. You're not the first person I've heard to say that when he started carrying a gun legally, he changed his behavior. I know a lot of people. I mean, for instance, in my case, when I'm carrying, and if I go out for dinner, if somebody else is driving, I will have a couple of drinks, 2 or 3 drinks. If I'm carrying, I won't. A lot of people say, when I started carrying, I stopped being an aggressive driver because you know that anything that escalates, there's going to be a gun involved because you're bringing it to the situation. And you want to avoid that if at all possible. You start going around the bad parts of town rather than saying, I will drive through there because I'm carrying. I do not want to have to use this tool. It's very interesting. And look, I appreciate the call, sir. It's a great point. It's very interesting how if you get the right training, and of course, not everybody gets this, but if you get the right training, your mindset is, I will do almost anything to avoid having to use this. I will retreat. I will go to another part of town. If somebody's stealing my car, I'm not going to go try to stop them with my gun. If I'm not in the car, I don't care. Call the insurance company. I don't care. If I'm in the car and they're trying to break in, that's a different deal. Okay, it's a whole different deal. But if I'm outside, if I'm in the parking lot and somebody's stealing my car, I am not going to go over there and try to stop them. I don't care. I'm going to call the insurance company and say, hey, guys, guess what happened to your car? And they're going to pay me the insurance. If I go over there, I am causing a confrontation that did not exist before. And here's the thing. The more training you get, especially if you do force-on-force training, like we do with our first-person offender series, you can look at that online at YouTube, you realize that you can do everything right and still get shot. You can do everything right and get hurt. You can do everything right and get killed. Don't get into it. Don't go inject yourself into that. I guess, here's what I ask you to do. Make a commitment. Think about those people in that church. Think about, what would I do? Why am I not carrying a gun? Why didn't I not get some training? Because there's not going to be anybody else there to help you. The police aren't going to get there in time to help you. They're not. They're good, but they're not going to be there for you yet. Look at your wife. Look at your husband. Look at your children. Are they not worth your investment of time, effort, and a bit of money to take care of them? Do you have any other responsibility on this earth beyond that? I don't think so. Nothing that's more important than that. Be safe out there. Take care of yourself. Call your father if he's around. Be safe, and we'll see you next week.